You know, this morning's gospel asks us to look at some difficult things. But it does offer us some hope. It offers us a way to repair relationships that our world desperately needs to learn. But first, the difficult things. Let's get them out of the way first. You see, Jesus asks us this morning to reflect on how we have reacted in the past when someone has hurt us or sinned against us. How have we responded when someone said something or didn't say something, or did something or didn't do something that hurt us? If we look back, our lives are filled with moments where we've been hurt or people have sinned against us. Now, of course, if we also look back, we see that we too have hurt other people and sinned against other people. The question this morning is, when this happens to us, how do we react? Well, most of us tend to lash out with harsh words or send a long, very potent text. Have you ever read the online comments that people make to journalists? Or go on a Catholic website, go on American Magazine website, go on a Catholic website and read the vitriol, the poison that is sent via social media among Catholics about each other. It's frightening. But you know, because you have a computer screen that you can hide behind, we do terrible things. So we lash out with harsh words or mean, very cruel texts. Or we stay silent and simmer and grow more and more angry. Often, we'll just complain to other people about that person. Sometimes we react with threats, or fists, or guns. We fight, or sometimes we flee. And these reactions, they break up marriages. They shatter families. They create feuds between neighbors and friends. You know, when you look at what corporations and countries do, when you look at what gangs do when they're attacked, when they're hurt, when someone speaks ill of them, they attack back. Often with weapons, very dangerous ones. They'll engage in social media-wide condemnation campaigns. They seek revenge in schools and families and neighborhoods. We seek to respond to fire with fire, an eye for an eye, or maybe two eyes for one eye. You see, we act in a way that seeks to condemn and expel and annihilate. And this kind of way of responding, it's a planet-wide problem. When it happens, whether we use harsh words or guns, up comes a deep chill that occurs between us and our neighbor. Or even worse, a very high, impenetrable wall that almost never comes down. Am I right about this? You're not sure? Am I right is the Catholic way of saying, can I get an amen? Okay, all right. Now here's the good news. So we're done with the difficult stuff. But here's the good news. You see, this morning, Jesus is offering us another way of responding to situations in which we are sinned against or in which we get hurt. He's offering us a new way. A way that our world needs to learn. A way that our families need to learn. It's the way of the gospel. It's the way of the future, or else we will blow ourselves up. literally. Now, if you listen to the gospel, Jesus offers us 4 ways of responding to someone who hurts us or sins against us. First one, meet with them one-on-one. Don't hide behind your computer screen or your phone. Meet with them. If that doesn't work, bring 2 people with you to meet with this person. If that doesn't work, Jesus says, tell the church. Now, he's not saying call Cardinal Wuerl and say, I'm really mad at my mom. He's not saying send a message to Father David. By church, and the word in Greek is ekklesia, it means community. He's talking about our small communities. So he's saying tell your friends, tell the family, tell those people in our parish that are important to you. Not to gossip and get people on your side, but so that the community comes together to help heal and repair and reconcile. And then Jesus says, here's the 4th way. If those 3 don't work, 4th way is treat him like a Gentile or tax collector. Now, Jesus had good relationships with Gentiles and tax collectors. What Jesus is suggesting is, since this person has hurt you or sinned against you, remove them from your community. And maybe being cut off for a brief period of time, that will bring them back. They'll miss the relationships and that will bring them back in. Here's what I want you to notice. In contrast to the world's way of revenge and condemnation and annihilation, Jesus is suggesting an approach aimed at reconciliation, at repairing and healing and restoration. We're supposed to be like the shepherd who goes out and finds the lost sheep, the prodigal son who waits. Jesus says right after this passage in Matthew, how many times should we forgive? Over 70 times. About 2 weeks ago, we heard in the gospel, we heard Jesus say to Peter, on this rock I'm going to build my church. Now, he wasn't sending out his boys to Home Depot to buy lumber and nails and rocks to go around Galilee and build churches. No, he's going around the Holy Land creating communities. Little cells that are committed to the gospel, committed to healing and renewal and restoration. And we are one of these communities that the risen Lord in the Spirit is continually trying to create. We are a community that is called to be about forgiveness rather than condemnation. We are a parish. We are meant to be families and friends who are about healing and repairing relationships and not tearing them apart and building enormous walls. You see, our world desperately needs more reconciliation and less condemnation. Our families and friendships need far more forgiveness and a lot less revenge. Can I get an amen? Amen. Right, you're waking up. Now, this morning, I want to emphasize one of the suggestions Jesus makes, and that is the first approach, the one-on-one meeting. God can do so much if we meet each other face to face, instead of hide behind our phones and our computer screens. And we, in our age, in which our first instinct is to send a text or an email or go on social media, need to hear this. Meet one-on-one. About a year ago, I received a letter. Father David sent it to me from a parishioner. She wasn't happy with something I said in a homily. No surprise. And Father David said to me, you know, it's always my strategy to meet with the person one-on-one. And I took that to heart because he was using this principle. Don't send an email. Don't send it. Meet with them one-on-one. Because when you meet with somebody one-on-one, you can hear their voice tone. You can see their facial expressions, their body language. You get context from them. You may find out you completely misunderstood the thing. Or maybe you actually hurt them. And it is incredibly liberating to be able to tell someone why they hurt you. And it can be liberating for them because they may not even have known that they hurt you. Now, this approach requires a particular disposition. Because, see, Jesus is not saying meet with them one-on-one so that you can give it to them and let them know face-to-face why they're wrong and you're right. No, that's not the approach. Instead, he wants you to approach, whether it's one-on-one or with two or three, in a spirit of kindness, in a spirit of humility. Because the goal is to repair and restore the relationship, not to make it worse. And let's face it, this takes courage that only the Spirit of God can give us, because in many cases we simply don't want to meet with these people. Because it may not work out. They may not say you're sorry. They may not forgive. They may attack. And that's why what we hear in the end of today's gospel is so important. When 2 or 3 are gathered, I am with you. The risen Lord is with us, because only he can heal and repair what we've torn apart. So with the Lord present, filled with the Spirit, we can adopt this new way, this reconciling and repairing way. So this morning, when you approach the altar and receive the Eucharist, ask the Lord to fill you with his healing and reconciling presence, so that we can become the gospel. We can become a people of reconciliation and healing. Let us go out and heal our world. Amen.